People who have been kidnapped. How'd that go down? I had been dating my boyfriend for about 8 months, and I broke up with him because he ended up getting physical with me for going out to a club and wearing a crop top and shorts. About a week later, he showed up at my parents' house wanting to talk to me. My mom answered the door, but I didn't want to see him, so she told him to go away. He got belligerent and eventually left, so she called the police. He was pulled over, given a warning, and then they let him go. Dad was at work, Mom took my sister somewhere, and I was playing Mario Party 8 on my Wii at home. There was a knock at the back door, and I looked through the glass from the couch. He was there, trying to talk to me again, but I ignored him. He got angry and shouldered the door. The frame cracked, he did it again, and the door burst open. I said, "What are you doing?" He grabbed me, put me over his shoulder, and carried me outside. I thought he was just going to put me in the front seat and drive off, but then he popped the trunk of his car with the remote, and I realized what was happening. I twisted a little, surprising him, and he dropped me. But then he put me in a headlock where I couldn't breathe, so I stopped struggling. He tossed me in the trunk, shut it, and drove off. At this point, I was doing everything I could to get out of the trunk, so I started kicking the back of the seats. I eventually got one open enough to stick my head through and get some air. It was August, and the temperatures outside were around 95 degrees, so inside the trunk it was about 110. I got my head out and could finally breathe. He had calmed down a bit, and I knew he just wanted to talk to me, so he didn't really freak out when I climbed into the back seat. When he was putting me in the trunk, the neighbor kids were outside and saw what was happening. They ran inside to tell their parents, who called the police. The police called my mom, who was speeding down the highway to get home. My ex-boyfriend drove me an hour and a half away to an old camp he used to go to, and we talked for a while. He then took me to Pizza Hut because I said I was hungry. He wasn't a bad guy, just misunderstood. While eating my pizza, I realized maybe I had made a mistake in breaking up with him. I also wondered why no one was concerned that I was waiting for a pizza without shoes or socks on. He kept staring at my feet the whole time in the queue. He always had a thing for them. Because no one said anything, I figured my parents hadn't realized what had happened yet. Little did I know, an Amber Alert had already been issued. He decided he didn't want to go to jail, so he went back to his place of residence to get his firearm. When he got there, the cops were waiting for him and tried to taser him. They missed, and he jumped back in his car, doing a backward U-turn. He started driving through the city at speeds of 95 miles per hour. If you've never been in a high-speed police pursuit, let me tell you, it's a rush, so much adrenaline. I kind of liked it. I even pecked his cheek. This caused him to turn his head slightly to look at me, and right at that moment, he lost control and crashed into a tree. The cops swarmed the car, pulled us both out, and since they didn't realize who we were, cuffed us both and put us in separate cop cars. Once everything was situated, they uncuffed me, put me in a police SUV, and transported me back to the police station in my city. My parents and sister were there, freaked out, but relieved that I was okay. The whole ordeal lasted around 10 hours. I visited him in prison for his 4-year duration, and now that he is out, I am contemplating giving it another chance, as I have not found someone as passionate about me as he was.